Martin, you and I were having a conversation about injuries, man, even just during the break, just talking about it, man. It's just a different day and age, man. Rob G, I don't know if your daughter, I know she does gymnastics. She playing sports, like baseball, softball, t-ball, basketball,
she does
soccer? Okay. Is it not weird how young they're starting? Like, we all play. I was just talking to Martin and all. We all play sports, but my oldest started at 2.5-ish, going on 3-ish. Jersey, the ball, and it, again, they're not playing full-on games or anything, but I'm like, I don't remember playing sports at 2.5, 3. Like, this is crazy. And it's from then on, it starts to get more and more serious, and then from then on, you start to get these specialized where these athletes doing it. Am I tripping? I don't remember doing all that young. Am I tripping, either one of you?
No, I mean, I remember my first, organized team, actually competitive, trying to win some, wasn't until I was, in the 5th grade.
Right.
In the 5th grade?
It was hey, there's a trophy, this is the big league, there's a draft, this is the big thing.
I remember going to basketball tryouts, and tryouts was strong. And I was going into what would have been 1st grade.
See, I don't remember that, and I'm older than both of you. And I'm not saying it didn't exist, so somebody my age could easily be like, yo, no, I remember that. I don't remember that. I remember getting busy around 4th grade-ish, because you play. I think what it was for me, I played any and everybody around the neighborhood, going crazy from a couple blocks up, whatever. And so that was it for me. So we were talking off the air. Summer basketball, just outside playing, and then football, whatever, just baseball, just going crazy. That I didn't necessarily need it to be as organized.
Exactly.
Now looking back, my lifestyle, not to get all deep, but it didn't consist of that where I would have had that until I finally got around 4th grade-ish, 4th, 5th,
right.
And then we were talking about playing in the rec league. That's when it got serious, right? Because now I'm playing, this team, my man and them, they're from across town. Oh, shoot, okay, the North Maple kids can play. All this Highcombe kids over here. And we're going back and forth playing. And then it got serious. But even then, you can't even join your middle school team because you got to do the intramural.
But that was my thing. When we were talking about, I played rec league basketball, or what we called biddy ball, down in Louisiana. But I played against the guys who I was going to 1st and 2nd and 3rd and 4th grade. They were from the various schools in the area, but we're all playing in our own, essentially, neighborhood, right? We weren't traveling to go play. I went to a high-level high school, and, a high school that's put a lot of athletes into the Division I basketball, football, basketball. They weren't traveling to go. They're traveling around the state of Louisiana, obviously playing road games, but the idea that they would play a team from Nevada is just ridiculous, right? That's just not a reality. I think that if the NBA is really concerned about this, and I think that maybe they're not, because as visible as the last 8 Achilles injuries have been, there's kind of an uptick, but it's is this a blip or a trend, right? So maybe, and I get it, nobody don't want anybody to tear their Achilles, but there is some cost of doing business just in playing the sport. I would be interested to think, and I think it would help a lot in just kind of the way we view American basketball in general. The NBA should really consider, especially with NIL the way it is, being able to put together some sort of academies of sorts because what is the problem? The problem that we're talking about that we're all saying is you want inherently, I'm not a parent, but you want your kids to make it, right? You want your kids to make it. So right now your kids are at an age where it's probably pretty hard to tell who's that much better than others. But eventually you'll see it, and I've been around enough 8th graders to know you know it before then, right? You can see a 6th grader who feels like he should be in the 9th grade, and all of a sudden he just keeps going and going and going. So you're, as a parent, exposing your kid to as many different opportunities, coaches, whatever, because you want them to make it. But that's, I think, where the lack of regulation comes in that, nobody wanted me to play again. But if they had wanted me to play on a high level, I would have played on 4 AAU teams because I got to get seen. I got to get exposure. So if there's a scenario where the NBA could have some sort of academy level place, right? Right now it's AAU and that kind of runs the thing, but an academy level place that has on times and off times and gives guys the ability to rest. There is not basketball to be played at a high level in this moment of time. Then I think that would be honestly for the best.
We see that overseas.
Exactly.
Do you know Tony Parker's story If you know Dirk's story, these guys get snatched up at like 12, 13, and essentially they go to college. They're in a dorm, they're away from the family, hours away from the family, in some cases maybe even a country over. You know, in Europe they're all kind of bunched up, and you're there, and you're just in this new system, and eventually you're good enough. You're 14, 15, you're playing with pros. We saw this if you watch the Olympic, I forgot the exact title, but the Olympic documentary. You saw France, how they do it. They snatch them a quart of gold. I think it's quart of gold. And that
sounds right.
Something, yes, it's something like that.
The one where Anthony Edwards told Barack Obama, "I'm like that."
He did. He told him that was like, I was like, I don't know if I love this or brother, show some respect. I was torn, Rob G. It's like, oh, that is the correct title. Okay, my point is, you saw how they do it in France. They got all these guys early and they kind of build them up. They build a system. But to your point, it's regimented, right? We got doctors, we got this, we have trainers. Like you're in this well-run, organized thing. And I just think we're at a place where it's just unhinged, man. These guys are playing. They play their entire high school year, go right into AAU, 5-6 games on the Saturdays, 5, 6, 7 on a Sunday, traveling. And I think there's the competition and the pressure of social media. If I don't have a mixtape, that's crazy. If I ain't playing this guy, he's Martin Weiss, the number one kid. I got to go play him, and then I got to put the video up, and then I got to – and it's like I think they're doing so much. By 17, they got brands that did this. We've been knowing about their mixtapes since they were 12. Dude, we knew about Zion for like 7 years. Like, you see this middle school kid? Imani Bates, same way.
If you go and watch Jeff Teague's clips about when he was coming up, he talks about the guys in Indianapolis that he was going against. It was about being king of the city. It was not necessarily about being king of even the Midwest or of the country at that point in time. Because when Jeff Teague was in high school, the idea that you didn't even know what Michael Beasley was doing, and he was in Chicago, and it's right around down the way. Like Greg Monroe, I played high school basketball against Greg Monroe, and then found out 3 years later, because I had moved after the hurricane, found out 3 years later that Greg Monroe was going to Georgetown to play basketball.
You like that dude we played
like
against?
The Greg Monroe that was 6'2" in the 8th grade? No, he ate a growth spurt.
Dude.
But like that Greg Monroe?
Dude, Rob G, I know you got a question. Let me just co-sign this story. So I'm a little older than you. We're playing. Now, I have the high school Gator who would be this year, the year that I'm talking about in high school, my senior year. He would become high school player of the year. He went to Michigan, so you know him, Lavelle.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Dude, he's a high school Gatorade player of the year. Bruh is nice, clearly. We go into a Thanksgiving tournament. Guess who we're playing against? Well, I'll tell you in a moment. So we're going in the tournament. Now, it's Thanksgiving, so most people, it's up in East Lansing where Michigan State is. Most people, obviously, all the kids are home for Thanksgiving, all the college kids. So the only people, 20 people maybe in the game, right? A couple of parents, a couple of maybe a scout, and a couple of girlfriends, and that's pretty much it.
I know who this is.
So we go into the next day's game. Mind you, that's been the basis of about 15 people, 20 people, 30 people. We go into the next game, Rob G. Now, you go get your bucket. We see cheerleaders, dancers, people that's about 300 people, Rob G. We're like, what is going on? And this other team is warming up, and we go into it. We warming, okay, we all get on the little bench now. Coach is like, all right, we're like, what? Why is this game different? Is that Tom Izzo? Okay, is that whoever else was popping in that, that time of the coaches? Is that him right there? And we were used to it because of our guy. So you used to come to school and you see some big top-notch coach.
Now, can I just quickly,
Yes.
this guy played at a school that is named Detroit but can't be farther from it?
No.
Okay.
I know who you're talking about. No. This he ended up playing in the city in which we were in.
Okay.
So Rob G, this person would go on to have a really nice NBA career, averaging daggone 18 for like a decade, couple of dunk contest awards. We're going up against, we're in the middle. How's everybody here? Coach goes, all right, everybody warmed up. Okay.
Oh, y'all were playing Saginaw.
There we go.
Okay, I know.
Dude says, our coach, this is how you know Martin's point of the era was different. Our coach goes, all right, guys. And we kind of look at him like, if you don't get to tell us why this game is different, he goes, all right, Lavelle, see that guy over there? Yeah, it's going to be between you and him for Mr. Basketball. How don't we know who is the potential Mr. Basketball, 6'6", 6'7", jumping out of the gym, Jason Richardson, who will go on to have a really nice NBA career, going to win the next year or so, win a national title with Michigan State. We don't even know who he is. That's the era I was in where the guy 45, 50 miles up the road is this amazing. We're going to be an NBA really good player, and we don't know who he is because it just wasn't like that back then. And they're like, yeah, that guy's between you and him who's going to win Mr. Basketball. Then we're like, who? We would go on to play the game. The man dropped about 50, 60 on our head. Like we're like, who? I can still go for a layup, Robsy. This is easy, little layup. Like, give me a little 2 points. Black off the backboard all the way back to half court. The man is catching tip dunk. I'm like, who is this dude? That's the era I'm from. We don't even know who this dude is. We would eventually play them in the state championship. But my point is, to your point, that's how it just was a different era. Now kids know in L.A., know a kid in New York, and I played him here and I played him there, and it's just a whole different environment. Dude, we didn't even know 50 miles up the road.
Here, I got one for you. Even my era, right? We're sitting there, we're playing the other school from Saginaw, Saginaw High.
Yep.
All right, around 2008. Again, why is Tom Izzo here? Okay, again,
I know where we're going
why
with
is
this.
Tom Izzo here? And they point to the guy who at the time is like 6'4", 5", a couple, maybe. It looks like feels like I'm the same height as him, right? Like he's maybe an inch or two taller than me, and he is no kidding 275 pounds. You tell me that's the guy I've been reading about in the paper all this time? That's the guy averaging 30, 20, and 10? Draymond Green?
Yep.
That's Draymond Green? And sure enough, Draymond Green ran up and down the court as slow as he wanted to and did damage the entirety of the time he was there, and then got to Michigan State, lost the way, goes to Golden State, and then goes to show you.
That was right. I was in Flint at that point.
But
Draymond,
I remember Draymond Green?
Oh, yeah.
When he played for the family, like the AAU program, all of that. So, like, to the point of all of that, I think you have these guys like to the point of just use Draymond Green for an example, because Draymond Green was obviously a high recruit in the state of Michigan. I don't know where he ranked nationally, but if Tom Izzo was talking to you, you're not a bum. All right, but coming from a place like Saginaw, he's talked about it before, so I'm not telling tales out of school. His parents, like he wasn't able. They did not have the money for him to go and play at a bunch of different places, and him to go. Now I know for a fact he played for the family program at AAU, which is a very popular one in the Detroit area, and I know he played with them. But how many different teams he was playing on, he couldn't afford to go to all the tournaments. So somebody was having to bring him there. And again, he's talked about this, so I'm not trying to tell tales out of school here. But he talked about it when he talked about basketball is now a rich man's game instead of a poor man's game. Draymond wasn't going to all those things, in high school he was not the player he is now, but matured, 4 years in Michigan State, then gets into the right situation in the NBA, and now is still playing NBA basketball at 36 years old, right? Like, if Draymond let's say he had been able to play on 7 different AAU teams, maybe he never even gets there. Like, to the point, Kalen Lucas was playing all over the place. Got hurt in college. One of Draymond Green's college teammates got hurt in college and was never the same.
Yeah. And all that to say, man, sometimes I do think they're playing too much. They're specializing too early. And when you look at some of the greats, I mentioned Randy Moss. Dude was Mr. Basketball, Mr. Football, West Virginia, played outfield in baseball, and ran track. Did you hear what I just said to you? And went on to be arguably the second best receiver of all time. So you don't have to specialize at 5 years old. These guys, you're allowed to play other things. You don't have to be on a million travel teams, to me, to still be good. And not to mention, we see so many players in these NBA finals who weren't the greatest or biggest recruits. Right? We saw Derek White. We all know his story. Like, you just keep playing and your opportunity can come, even if you're not Mr. All-World at 12.